Okay, this is the Salisbury diff centre out. I've already taken the crown wheel off, cleaned up all the bolts, clean them up with some brake clean, get all that oil and dirt and crap. Now, because I'm doing a diff centre, bearings, which, I don't know, if you're going to the point of stripping the diff, you might as well put some sort of, this is an Ashcroft. Ashcroft don't pay me for this. And honestly, trade prices, between retail and trade prices, and by the time I've got it landed here, it ain't that much cheaper. It's a couple of bucks, honestly. But you might as well put an Ashcroft ATB in it. I've done the videos on the P38 rear diffs. I don't do as many. So there's P38 diff that I've actually got to strip and rebuild. It was horrific. But the Salisbury one, I don't do as many. In the Perentes. Alright, so I've got the crown wheel on. So when you do it, I initially have that diff centre upside down. And I position the crown wheel and just get a little bit of a thread going, so it's upside down. So because it's such a tight fit, that interference fit on the crown wheel to the diff centre, if you get it in there, then you won't be able to turn it round to match the bolt holes up. So you need to line those bolt holes up before you get the crown wheel. So it's upside down. Gravity's helping you a little bit. Get a bit of a thread on two opposite ones. Finger tight them in. And then you can flip it upside down. I just mark them two with a bit of paint. Then get your clean bolts, red Loctite, because we really don't want all the bits and pieces coming apart inside of the diff while it's running. Red Loctite them. Wind them all up just with your rattle gun, just to pull them all up. Do it all evenly so you know the crown wheel pulls up evenly. Make sure that space is nice and closed up. Flip, it's already there. And then once it's seated and you know it's right, then back out those two because you know they haven't got Loctite on them. Honestly, you can look up the spec in the workshop manual, but if you're doing anywhere from 50 to 60 Newton meters, you know, I'm not here to train people, but if you followed this guide, you're going to be fine, okay? You're not going to have catastrophic failures. So 50 to 60 Newton meters. Now I'm ready to put the new bearings in. I'll put you guys down here so you get a nice view, maybe. And we'll... This is where, I mean, look at the size of this vise. You know, this vise dwarfs the diff centre. And that's a big, so that's equivalent to a Dana 60, okay? So that's a big diff centre, and this is a whopping huge vise. When you're doing this, it's perfect. Unlike the view that you guys have currently got. Let's see if I can much bodgy it. No, too thick. That's sort of a bit better. See how that goes. And if you didn't already see it, a bit of paint mark just on the inner and outer of the bearing. Just, I mean, in theory they're all machined the same, but they are a pair in the pack, so let's keep them that way. So get a bit of your Perentie. Perentie, I think, should pay me or supply me with free products because it ain't the cheapest product, but it's awesome. It's Australian made. It's not a really nasty chemical. You can water dispersant, you name it. Okay, I've sort of jumped ahead a little bit. So I'm just pulling the bearing off the old diff center. Great idea, a rag. Because if it pops off, nothing flies into your face. That's the theory anyway. Okay. And the reason why we even care about is we want these shims, if you can see that. Okay, these, I think these ones have had better days. I might see how we go. I might dig up some new, might measure these shims and see what we've got. So that's on the crown wheel side. You can just mark it on the bench if you want. I'm going to sit it on the bearing box. Crown side. Hope you guys can see all this happening. If that's any better or not. Maybe I can do it there. Is that a better view? Yeah, I suppose. So this is where, if you're not doing diffs all the time, well, you don't have the gear, then, wow, it's going to be a hard slog. So this is a puller. Well, I don't know actually the technical name for it, to be honest, because the puller part is here. So this is a machined end, it's just stuck on the end at the moment, that matches the center of the carrier. So now we've got the puller on. Yes, there is 2 threaded rods, a bar and all that crap, but the bearings are never that tight. Should really stick that rag, but yeah, I want you guys to see it. You can obviously do it by hand, but you know, I'm doing this for a living, not for fame and entertainment. So I don't really want to spend all day, every day on it. Again, there's our shims. These ones are substantially thinner. That's on the other side. There's our old one. Okay, bit of Perentie, just on that. Where's my big hammer? So, yeah, forgot to mention. So there's the shims. That's the last one we took off. So I just cleaned the shims up. have a look. You've still got a gap. Get your drift. Oh, yeah, there you go. You'll feel it when it's seated. It's got that bounce to it. Shims on the other side. Again, bit of penetrating. Oops, that'd be the cordless. Like it's Makita, it's tough. So make sure that bearing, so I'm hitting with the drift because it's narrow enough, the inner part of the inner bearing. Okay, don't hit the outer part of the bearing. So while I'm down here, I'll pick up the cordless, the drift, everything else that I've dropped. Obviously I stuck the shim in. Okay, back. Ow. That was almost my fingers. Okay. So, this is, oh, damn it. This is where the little tappy hammer that I had before is great for this because you can just do a little tap tap. So, also what I had was put the camera around the other side so hopefully you could see a bit more. And of course I'll put my back to you guys. Okay. So what I had was, I just can't find it, a wide piece of steel that had a curve in it that allowed you to, this one's not tight anyway, but see how it keeps slipping off, it's a pain in the ass. To so it doesn't jump around like that. People, and now as for using, brass drift or copper, yeah, but you know what, in all my years, thousands of diffs, not thousands, that will sit in there because it's quite a tolerance fit. So get a cap in there. I've never damaged a bearing by using a steel hammer. Okay. Let me go get my gun. Rattle gun. Because honestly, I'm not ever hitting it hard enough to do any damage. But see how the tone changed? These are coming back out. Yeah, that feels pretty good. So same brand bearings, same load rating and everything. Is it cheating? Not really. You can use the same shim. So off the old center, I just took those old bearings off, made sure those shims were clean, and that to me, the backlash, which someone, you know, when I think I did the P38 diff video, couldn't remember the name because, shit, I do all this on the fly. I don't sit there nothing out what I'm going to particularly say. So, backlash. And, oh, why don't you just call it what everyone else calls it? Why don't you go make your own videos? So that feels pretty good. And I'd already got the pinion right. So now that I'm happy with that, red Loctite, because again, ends in tears if, oops, you don't need that much. Ends in tears if parts of the diff come loose. And so for the ones that don't know, blue Loctite is medium strength, red Loctite is high strength. Then you've got bearing retaining compound, which will glue shit in. Okay. Should really get the torque wrench. Okay. 60, 65. I'm sure if you look at torque setting up, I'll be wrong. There's an exercise from someone. Go look up the setting and tell me how wrong I am. Okay. Again, yes, it's not precision because there's so many. Yeah, that's nice. Pretty happy with that. And what we can do, stay there. I just call it makeup. It's yellow ochre. I have seen diffs where they've painted every tooth. If it's turning evenly and you've got no sort of stiff point, if you've got stiff point, the crown wheel's bent or you haven't torqued it up nicely. I normally put gloves on because the sharp edges of the crown wheel can be quite bitey. That's definite if did that turn off? I don't know. You might not be able to see it in the video. We're looking at the bite pattern. Why does that keep beeping? On, yeah, it's about even. A little bit towards the centre, which being a Perentie drag car is going to be ideal because yeah, if I prad around, I can just keep working and I get a really nice clean picture. But where the mesh pattern is, it looks nice. It's in the centre, a little in the centre of the tooth, about in the middle. You can go a little bit deep. This one's perfectly fine, and it's a little bit in the centre. So when it loads up, that bite pattern will be perfect in the centre. When we've got the Perentie down at the drags, obviously it's not the case, but when you're off-road, I mean, far out, you're loading it up pretty flaming hard. If, you know, I can appreciate that at the drags. With a drag car, we've got some phenomenal drag car engine. But I don't think you're ever going to load a Perentie up off-road like that. You're going to be breaking other bits, tail shafts, unis, half shafts, you know. Do you really need to upgrade all the half shafts? No. Something's got to break, right? Might as well be something cheap like a half shaft. So we've torqued that up. That's pretty well good to go. Like I said, so these ones don't have the, I think all the Dana stuff has the little punch marks, but just with your center punch, two dots, and you'll see old guys, it'll put 2 dots, but it'll be the other direction. So you even get the cat round the right way. I didn't mess this up, so, you know, this is all nice and clean. Clean your plate up, use your sealant. I don't use the cork because I think it's shit. And that's pretty well it. Okay, so cleaned up the cover plate. I've sealed that back on. I've done the dry flanges. This one got a new plastic cap because it was knackered. It's full of oil. Just a standard 80-90 hypoid, and it's pretty well everything. Hopefully all the video will make sense because it wasn't necessarily done in the order. Anyway, so happy with that. Just guys some people use the paper. I don't. I always use sealant. Sealant's easier to clean off and it works better than the rubbish paper gaskets. I actually use 3-bond 1215. I use it for transfer cases, everything, diffs. It's brilliant stuff. A little bit more liquidy than a lot of other sealants, but very easy to clean up, and it works fantastic. So that's the Ashcroft ATB fitted into the Perentie. It's a good upgrade. It just makes it that more tractor-like off-road. This one's pretty well done. Okay. Thanks for watching. See ya. Bye. These are the filler plugs that the Army use. They're used throughout Land Rovers on a lot of, even the old series, these brass ones. They've got the flange on it, so while a normal plug will fit in, you can wind them too far on these, and I've seen guys do it. And for the drain plug, I always fit a magnet one. If it doesn't have it, and it doesn't matter the type of Land Rover. Okay.